how was this to process? I mean, you have oil prices that are kind of going nowhere. It's really hard to be an E&P company in the U.S. What was it like to market this deal?
It was a challenge. It was a challenge, but it was a good challenge, and we finished in a good line. The market today was not in favor. We have elections in Argentina. Yeah, we make it happen.
Before we get to the internal politics of Argentina, investors don't like U.S. E&Ps. They don't like it because they spend too much, they spend over their cash flow, and they want dividends and buybacks instead. What was your pitch to investors to not do that?
Well, I think investors like shales in U.S. for a while. Now they are a bit out of favor. I think one of the things that we have is we have a fantastic rock, and Permian have found a competition. So Vaca Muerta is here to compete with Permian. I believe one of the advantages that we have is that we learn from U.S. So U.S. have lived a lot of lessons that we basically are taking in consideration. I think when in U.S. you have leases, in Vaca Muerta you have concessions for 35 years. That helps you a lot to plan your development. Leases, you have to drill to secure a land space in many different places. I think parent-child issues is related also to that. I think Vaca Muerta we have two, beside the rock, that is a fantastic rock, I think we have two advantages. We learn from US, we have concessions where we can plan our development better, and we have more space. You saw that when you were there.
Yeah, definitely a lot of space, less development so far. So let's talk about that. You learned sort of what not to do. So you mentioned parent-child well relationships, and part of that here in the U.S. is you're drilling wells too close to each other and they cannibalize each other's production or pressure. So what are you not doing that the U.S. E&Ps have made a mistake by doing?
Well, what we are doing is, first of all, everything we are learning, lateral lengths, the way that now we are taking sand of less spec, much more closer to the field. The way you plan your development, they came with a lot of technology here. Cube is one. Everything that we learn here, we are applying there. And Vaca Muerta is not exactly the same. We have more thickness. So we also doing some innovative things that have not been done here that we are doing there. I give you only one example. We're using silos back. A technology that used to storage crop in Argentina, we are using to storage sand in the location. So we are learning, we are innovating, and results are looking good.
And I'm glad you mentioned sort of the sand, because it leads to the broader issue of infrastructure. And I mean, when I was there and we were in that helicopter, all you saw was just basic land. I mean, just to point out how much infrastructure will actually be needed. What's your thought process on that?
On infrastructure, we need to be careful because we start in the same place where Permian started in many respects. We have spare capacity that allow us to have a good start without focusing on facilities too much. Now, one thing that we have done, looking at the future, we have created a company. We launched a company 6 months ago called Alix. This company is going to serve Vista and is going to serve our competitors, and the idea of that company is to invest the capex that we need ahead of time, and us just to be focused on the development and on the wells.
So let's move to the politics then, because you had brought that up. So investors no doubt are anxious about the October elections. What does it mean for your business? Look,
I think one thing is interesting that has happened in Argentina is that when Argentinians will hardly agree on anything, okay, we have managed to have a consensus about Vaca Muerta. Vaca Muerta started in 2012, the big development really was discovered before, and during that period of time, we managed to bring investment, to bring the technology into the country. We managed to bring partners. We managed to pass a law that basically today gives us the legal framework. And of course, in this period of time, we don't have exchange control. There's a lot of things that have happened that during two different governments have shown to investors that we in Argentina can have continuity. So saying all that, I believe I believe Vaca Muerta, there's a political consensus and there's a consensus in the country where things will continue going in the right way.
There are still issues, like an export tax, for example, on all things. You did just export the first shipment of light oil out of Argentina. In November, can you still do that?
Yes, we have challenges too, and we have pending task. I would say two are very important ones. One that we have to learn from US is to share information. Share information give here to US a much faster learning curve. People share the length of the wells, the number of fracs that you have in the well, the production, and that also information help to basically have a more rational development. The other that you have just mentioned is exportation. I think also we have to learn from US that in 2015 Obama had the courage of incentivize export that basically changed the whole business. I think we need to do that in Argentina. Today we are not completing a free market yet in terms of exportation.
Why?
Why? Because today any refinery can basically cross your exportation, and we need to move beyond that. We need to make sure that everybody that wants to export can export.
To end sort of on a broader look, you've had a tremendous amount of experience, whether you work at Schlumberger or at YPF, a global market. What is your outlook for oil supply and demand prices? How do you see it going in the back half of the year?
Well, that is a tough question. Okay, many people have get it wrong, and probably I will not be the first also. So look at, I feel that we are after a steady state at the levels that we are for the next few years. I believe the demand is still strong, and I believe we still need to boost reserve. We have not explored for many years. And I believe that is going to play in the favor of oil prices.
So supply gap, and Argentina, you want to fill that supply gap, it seems. Yes, is that the development goal?
As bullish we are with Vaca Muerta, we are after a rapid development. We will never get the speed that you get in US. It will be very tough for us to get the scale that you have here. But if you multiply our rig count by 10, for Argentina, it will be an incredible story.